Today we're with Sandy Lou Haler from the boutique called Sandy Lou, Sandylew, in downtown Seattle, First Avenue between Pike and Union Streets, near the Showbox actually.
Yeah, and a half a block up from the Seattle Art Museum.
And near the Pike Place Market as well. We're right in the middle of everything. And well, first of all, thanks for doing this.
Sure.
And I guess my first question is, how did you get started in this business? You mentioned in your website that you've been on a crazy journey. What was so crazy about it?
Well, I made my whole life as an artist. I loved it. And then there was a year when I had two kids in college, and I had a new studio, and we just needed to make a little more money. So a friend of mine asked me if I would help her expand her business. She had a gift store and she wanted to carry clothing, and asked me if I would help her do that, and I said sure. It was just, you know, sometimes things just happen at the right time. And so I did that and grew her business quite a bit. And that's how I learned about the clothing business.
And then, of course, you started your line of jewelry. You made rings and pendants and nicer items than you ever believe. And yet, how would you describe those creations at the beginning? What was that all about?
Well, it just went from really simple brass things to more complicated silver things, and casting silver and gold, and I loved it. I loved it, and it was a very, at that time, you know, it was a thing where there were a lot of art fairs, and I did the art fairs, and I was in some galleries, was in a couple of New York galleries for a while, galleries here in Seattle, and then of course I had a studio sale myself. Yeah. So, and I loved that.
Yeah. And then you went from the small to the large, like gates and garden art and fireplace screens. Yeah. How do you go from the small to the large like that? What happened?
Sometimes the images in your head, they just want to be bigger, and so I took classes at Pratt, which is a wonderful facility here in Seattle, where I learned to make to do welding from Peter Reicham, and I loved it, and it's just gave me a wider range of doing the images in my head.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And then, of course, we're here at Sandy Lou. But what was that inspiration? What was the seminal moment to open a shop?
Well, the woman that I helped to grow her business, I went on the buys with her, and one time I came home, I was really tired, and it was just tough. And my husband said to me, "Why don't you just do this for yourself?" And until that moment, it had honestly never occurred to me. I thought I had life knocked. I was an artist, had my side gig, paid for my studio, helped me pay for my kids' college. Great. But then I couldn't stop thinking about it. So then I did it.
And then you did it. And here we are on First Avenue. So how long have you been in the business here?
We're going to have our 12th anniversary. I opened in 2008. I waited for this space. I basically had a 2-block area of First Avenue that I thought I would like to be there. And this building is locally owned by a family. And I am so fortunate to be in a building that is owned locally by a family who I have a good relationship with. Roz Pohl is an amazing person, and it makes all the difference to a little business owner who your landlord is.
They understand
and what your relationship is. Yes.
That's great. And now Sandy Lou has a great website as well. You have to check it out. And it's fun and colorful, and I feel like it's speaking to women seeking to stand out and, I don't know, have a little fun? Is that right?
Yeah, well, we have fun doing it. I'm very fortunate. I have one of the women who works for me, Chelsea, she helps us take the pictures, and then Karina, who works for me, she gets them online, and we have a great guy who set up the site and helps us. So those things, in terms of like, you have to have a team. And we just have fun taking the pictures, and it's just us. I don't use the photographs that designers send me. We just take pictures of ourselves.
Okay.
So you can see on our website how it can be worn. And honestly, if I'm wearing it on the website, that is code for anybody can wear this.
That's great.
Yeah.
And where do you get all your clothing and accessories? How do you source it?
I go to market in New York twice a year, sometimes an extra visit or two. I go to LA maybe 3 or 4 times a year, up to 5, but really 3 or 4. I meet designers there, and they come there worldwide to New York, and I usually get a chance to meet the actual designers, and that's very helpful.
Oh yeah. So it's making connections. Just
Yes.
like in real estate, you make connections every day.
That's right.
So let's paint a scenario here. An anxious customer walks into the shop, might be looking for something new and different and fun, doesn't have something for a special occasion that night. It could be a tourist, it could be a local. What happens when they walk in and that's the occasion?
Well, of course we greet them, and then we ask them if they're looking for any particular. Sometimes they reveal, and sometimes they don't. But eventually, when they do reveal, then we kind of try to find things for them. It's really important to see a woman in something, so then you can figure out, oh, what kinds of things that we have here that might work for her, and then we just kind of, it's a team thing.
They have to be comfortable in what
Absolutely.
they're wearing, I guess, right?
And they have to feel good.
And so, other than that, and that's a big other than that, because you're asking people questions and instead of clicking on a website, how does Sandy Lou differentiate itself from all the others out there?
Well, I do think we're pretty user-friendly. I think that myself and the women who work for me are all very attuned to making somebody comfortable and to make sure that what she tries on and what she goes out the door with looks good and makes her feel good. We're also very honest. If something kind of has some issues, we tell. Right. It's not all just about making a sale. It's about making somebody feel good. And I think that our regular customers and people who come and meet us, they get that vibe, and I like that they understand that that's how we feel.
You're really trying to help. That's great.
Yeah.
And so, a tough question perhaps, but the Pacific Northwest has its own look and feel, its fashion, and I wonder if you feel that the Pacific Northwest leads, or it's often following other looks in other parts of the country.
I don't know about leading. I think that in the way that you can have a voice about how you dress, I think that the Pacific Northwest does have certainly in Seattle, and that's what I know more. We have a sort of casual look, but casual and sophisticated, I think, is the goal. I think also we dress in a pretty dark way, although we all walk in saying, I'm not going to buy anything black and walk out with black things. I think in the country in general, regions have different looks, and that our look is identifiable in that way.
It's funny you say that, because even Portland has a subtle difference than
Yes.
Seattle's fashion, and
Yes.
as does Vancouver, BC, for
Yes.
example, have a different look and feel.
Yes.
So, but we're here in a brick and mortar. What do you think makes this store successful? What is it that makes brick and mortar in general successful?
When you walk into a store and you can see and touch and feel and see how it feels on, I think that's really important. And true, when you get something in a box, you can try it on. But if you're in the store, there's so much more for you to choose from.